from the time that I was first unlawfully thrown out of my home at 2037 West Roscoe. I began, in a multitude of ways, reporting on all of the things that were taking place, all of the abuses that were taking place. I was literally unlawfully thrown out of my own home that I lived in legally, that I paid to live in, that I decorated, that I cleaned, that I took care of, that I lived in with my children. And I reported this to the authorities, and as soon as I did, I started being followed, stalked, harmed in many ways, raped, attacked, robbed, all of my belongings stolen from me, my vehicle defaced, damaged, and destroyed. And we were told multiple times that these sorts of circumstances would no longer be an issue, that social media was going to be, or was already having, restrictions and algorithms, put into place that would prevent people from being able to harm other people, bully other people, stalk other people. A safe place for us to be able to share our ideas and discuss what was on our mind and find support and be support to one another. That I would no longer be assaulted or sabotaged in any way. But here we are 4 years and 6 months later, and I'm still getting the same kinds of comments that for the past, 9 months have been a non-issue. So we find ways to resolve these issues for 9-10 months, and then randomly all of those methods and algorithms that we're working to prevent all of these sorts of interactions and abuses, they just go haywire and lose their effectiveness. That makes no sense. And speaking from a person who has a logical mindset, who is not a moron, and who has common sense, it seems like, if all of this was already taken care of a number of times and on a number of different occasions, that it shouldn't be a problem that's recurring. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So I'm frustrated about it. I feel as though it's not right and it's not lawful. I feel as though I am repetitively, just over and over and over again, being subjected to abuse, senseless abuse, for no reason at all. I start a live that's productive. I talk about coursework or what's going on with my life. There's so much I'd love to discuss. I have very little support surrounding certain subjects. No one can really take it because it's so stressful, and all of the people who I would lean on for support regularly are, being bombarded with their own stresses, so that, it's more difficult for me to explain the situation in a way that makes sense. And going to social media and having support groups that you can't rely on because of a court order saying that you're not allowed to talk, or because as soon as you begin to reroute your, subject matter and you start talking about things that are meaningful, a group of harassers and stalkers and haters just start to, harass and badger and abuse further. It doesn't make sense to me. We already solved this issue. We already solved this issue a bunch of times. So why do we have this issue again? Why do we have this issue again? I wanted to play Never Have I Ever on TikTok, and these fucking people threw me off of TikTok Live and said that I was having a scam playing Never Have I Ever. What kind of a scam can you get from playing Never Have I Ever? Like, is me breathing a scam? Am I allowed to breathe here? Is that okay? It's exhausting, you know? I keep rebuilding myself, and then they just come and take a big, massive dump right on my head again. I don't think there's anything worse that you could do to a person than what they've done to me. Period. And I don't know how to make it stop. It's so sad. It's like, how do we have 9 months where these issues are dead already? Like, they're fucking dead. Go away. Get a fucking life. Get a hobby, or don't. But just, why are you in my safe space, making it an unsafe space, you know? And just in the beginner AI course that I took, I know for a fact, I know that the algorithms are already in existence to block these people out. So who continues to allow it? If we resolved it for 8 to 9 months, why is it an issue again 8 to 9 months later? If the issues that I was having in 2020, January of 2020, that I was reporting to law enforcement in formal police reports, if those issues are still an issue in 2024, we have problems in this country. Stalking, harassment, baiting, badgering. It's fucking crazy. Everything was fine a second ago. All the algorithms were up to par. And then as soon as I began advocating for social media and technology and talking about AI and how AI is programmed through human behavior and all of these things, it's almost as if there's some sort of foot in your mouth program where it's like you give your opinion on something and it's the rule, right? Every rule has exceptions, but you give your opinion on something and it's the rule, and then they start making the exception the rule just to spite you or like your purpose. It makes so much sense. Like, if you live it and you understand it, it makes no sense with regards to like causality or intention. Like, what's your motive? You know what I mean? But that's what just happened. I was making money on TikTok. Not a lot, just a few dollars. And so I'm like, well, if just logging on here is allowing me to make money, then why wouldn't I, you know? And also there are like people who are kind and like uplifting, so why wouldn't I log in? And then I log in and they block my account and say I'm not allowed to go live again until the 22nd for scamming. I swear to God, I was playing Never Have I Ever. That's what I was doing. If I was a scammer, would I be living in a homeless shelter, begging for assistance? Probably not, right? Probably not. It's like they want people who are not undercover operatives to work as undercover operatives, so they mess them up, they dirty them, so that the other dirty people will feel accepted and like one with them and show their true selves. It's so fucked up. And if that's the case, no one is showing their true self, because everyone is just being the fifth of five. Separate all these people and put them in environments with geniuses. Let them be the only dummy in a room of 4 other geniuses, and let's see how long it takes for things to change. I bet you it won't be long. I bet you, but I mean, that works the opposite direction as well. You take someone, you could take a banker, you could take a doctor, take away their stethoscope and lab coat and put them in an environment with people who speak primarily in slang. Let them have no contact with anyone who speaks medical language or like traditional English. see how long it is before they start speaking in slang. There's nothing fake about it. It's the 5th of 5 rule. Speaking of the 5th of 5 rule, ever since I became a mom, I always used to feel like I didn't need friends. I didn't really start having friends until I started working bottle service, and with friends like those, who needs enemies? So I just always felt like, once you have kids, that's your whole world, and your kids and your husband they're your everything, And I had a couple of friends who I worked with, and literally one by one, they've just disappeared into the abyss. Not like we lost contact or we had a fight, they're just gone. What the fuck happened to these people? What an overwhelming day, you guys. So anxiety producing, so exhausting. Just yuck this day. Yuck. Extra yuck. And then I ordered an outfit for my baby, and it says it's delivered. I mean, it says that it is, the order went through, but it's also saying that it has not yet shipped, and I need it for Friday. I'm not these people's adversary. I'm no one's adversary. You don't have to keep hurting me. You don't. I don't want to compete with you. I don't want to fight with you. I don't want anything to do with you. Any of you. I get online and I literally try to create a group of peers that I can speak intelligently with about things that are taking place and subjects that are going on. And rather than being able to do so, it's just a wall of hatred, a wall, and I don't have the density to walk through walls. You know what I mean? I miss my kids, you guys, so much. So much. And I don't understand how many years of this are going to, be required before I can live my life again. It's I woke up in someone else's body one day, and I've been freaking out about it ever since. This is not my life. I want to go home. It's terrible. It really is terrible. It's everything that you can do to work a person in their situation out of your situation, and then they just start visiting you in your dreams. How much power and control someone has over you to appear in your subconscious. It's crazy. But even through all of that, I've never wanted anything bad for anyone else. Ever. I want everyone to win. Starting with myself. There's literally not a drop of hate or blood in my entire body, nor in my gene line, in my genealogy. It doesn't exist. If I can do something to help others without harming myself, I do. And someone said, be smart, not kind. And for me, the only strategy that I have at life is being kind to be smart. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I just don't know. What a crappy day. Incredibly anxiety producing. I don't even know. I told Xavier I wish that I could like climb into myself and rip out whatever this part of me is that's like bothering me. It's awful. It feels like there's like a little tiny demon inside of me that just has got to get out. Terrible. I don't know what to do. It's awful. I took my prenatal vitamin this morning and I was like afraid to make it like make noise because the people who ear hustle me like were gonna think that I was taking something else and question the quality of my breast milk. I only take prenatal vitamins, don't worry. It's crazy. wonder if anyone's ever sailed or like boated from Chicago to the other side of Lake Michigan. I wonder if Lake Michigan goes to Canada. And this is the main problem that I have in reading all this. I have to just let you guys populate the comments so that I could really get a feel for the demographic of my followers. I will never believe that there are more awful people than there are fantastic ones. So with that mindset, with the mindset that there are more good people than there are bad people, what would be causing this? What would be causing that? It's intentional, clearly. Unless I want to adopt the mindset, which I will never, that people are inherently bad. I will never. People are not bad. People are good. So, can I get some causality on this? Immediately? I should be like breastfeeding my son, taking my kids on a walk to the park. Making fruit salad for after dinner snacks. Getting everyone's bath stuff and shower stuff ready. Like my typical day prior to all of this chaos. So from 2006 to 2020, my day was, I would go to work, my kids would go to school or be with me if they were babies, or my mother-in-law while I was at work. I would come home from work, well, I would wake up, get the kids up, get them dressed, put them in their car seat, pack their bags, take them to my mother-in-law's, or I would be home with them. Go to work, or get myself ready, go to work. I would take 2 buses and a train to work, or 1 bus and a train depending on my route. And then I would work 8 to 10 hours, not including lunch, walk back to the train, take the train back, or take the bus to the train, take the train back, then the bus to my house, commuting like an hour and a half after an 8 to 10 hour day each way. My baby would come home, or babies would come home around like 5 p.m., 5:30. I would pop on some cartoons while I cooked dinner and cleaned up the house, ask them to help me set the table, have them do their homework while I was cooking if they didn't have homework but TV, have dinner, put everything in the sink to soak, take them to the park or do some other activity, play in the backyard, come inside, everyone take a shower, or me give everyone a bath, make them an after dinner snack, brush teeth, brush hair, put them to bed between 8 and 9, and then give them 1 hour of TV time while they were in bed. Turn off the TV at 9 or 10. Take a shower myself. Go to bed and do it all over the next day. That was my life for 14 years. Prior to that, I was a 19-year-old little girl. I don't know how to live this way. So I think it's a safe bet that a tremendous portion of my anxiety, if not all of it, comes from powerlessness, or the feeling of powerlessness, and the physical separation from everyone who is home to me. It sucks. How do you prescribe a medication for homesick? Like, how do you diagnose a broken heart? I don't give a fuck about all of the romance that's broken me down. It's literally the practicality of being a mother. It is practical that it is in the best interest of my children to have access to their mother, me. Practical for society that my children have guidance from their mother. Practical for my children that they have guidance from their mother. Practical for me, their mother, that they have guidance from their mother, support and love from their mother. I remember sharing with everyone on the recorded line that one of the worst experiences I ever went through was, or one of the worst feelings I ever experienced was being abandoned in this third world country. I was told we were going for vacation, and then I was left there and asking, when do I get to go home? And there's never any answer. We'll see. We're not sure. No one knows. You could be here until you're 18. You could leave in as little as 6 months. Some kids leave after a month. And I remember sharing that with the people I cared about the most, person I cared about the most, on a recorded line. And that's what they're doing now. That's exactly what they're doing now. You don't think that that's torture? For me, it is. You know, the quality of no one's life would be worse if I were sitting in my own apartment with my babies, breastfeeding my son, with my 3 kids sitting around me complaining about something, you know. Oh my God, Mom. Mini turkey meatloafs again for dinner. Like, what else else are we having? Green beans and mashed potatoes. Oh, fine. Some people think that you have to go through things and like suffer. I don't think so. Most of the people who say that shit haven't never gone through shit, or they're so brainwashed. They're so brainwashed, or they're like literally like terrified to admit that the things they've gone through were not helpful, were not productive, because then they just wasted their life like being abused. And God forbid they be a victim for once, right? You know, people don't realize that when you're being victimized, even if you say you're not being victimized, you still are. Even if you say you're in control, but you're not, you're still powerless. Like, you can control certain things 100%. You can control your mindset as much as possible. You can control the effort that you put forth. I could be sitting here doing a lot of bad things. I sit here and study, apply, think of my children, you know, so you can control things like that. But to a certain extent, we have no control, you know, and that is torture. Like, that is torture. No, I mean, I don't think I'm a lesbian at all, because I don't ever feel like I enjoy sex with a woman. I've been attracted to women, but I don't enjoy sex with women. Nor do I like want to do sex with a woman. Nor do I find women like sexually attractive. For me, it's all about feeling safe. People are attractive to me if I feel like I would be safe in their presence or with them. I don't know why that is, like why certain qualities make me feel safe, certain vibes and like feelings. But no, definitely I'm not a lesbian. If I were ever to be in a relationship with a woman, it would be 100% non-sexual. But I would definitely like hug her, you know. I think that all same-sex relationships are a product of abuse. It's a difficult pill to swallow, and when we admit that, then it means that there's a lot of victims out there who deserve justice. And I don't think that society is ready for that. I don't think that we're ready to say, holy moly, a lot of these people were really severely abused, and that means we have a lot of predators walking around here. It's crazy, I know. It's caused me some sleepless nights thinking about it. All of the predators. God, there's nothing better than like a pair of crispy white fresh gym shoes. And I have not had a pair of crispy white fresh gym shoes in the longest. Actually, in 2021, I found this like fabric pair of gym shoes at Marshall's for like, I want to say like 15 bucks. And they were, you guys know those, the Nike flexes, the black ones that I have that are like fabric with like rubber on them, like rubber like going up the sides and like around the bottom, but the other part of the sides look kind of like socks. They have ties on them, but they don't have a tongue. They were no name brand, and I got one pair of white ones, one pair of black ones. Those were the best, most durable shoes I have ever had, and I would just throw them in the washer. They would come out so clean. They were fantastic shoes. I have not had a pair of shoes like that since I had those shoes. I'm pretty sure those shoes were in the bin, were in my bin. Or no, actually they weren't. I replaced those shoes with the black and white Nikes with the gold on them, And then the rose and white Nikes, those were both in my bin when they stole it from outside of Xavier's father's house. Along with my laptop, a bunch of clothes, socks, underwear, sunglasses, hats, 2 jackets, production equipment, lighting, a tripod, a blanket, some other stuff, towels. But at a certain point, you know, it gets incredibly discouraging to continue to rebuild when as soon as you rebuild and you get a little bit of footing, it's just they take it all away again, you know. You can't stop. I read something that was like, in the face of adversity. No, I heard this commercial. It's like, in the face of adversity, you have 3 choices. You can curl up and die. You cannot curl up and die. Like, where the fuck are you going to curl up and die? Like, what? It's not a real choice. In the face of adversity, you don't have any choice. You just keep going. Just like in the face of happiness or in the face of, you know, anything. You keep going. There is no such thing as stopping. You can't just stop in life, you know. Even if you go in your room and you say, I'm never coming out again, you will have to come out sometime. At a certain point, you either need to eat or use the restroom, or, you know, someone orders a wellness check or something. Like, there is no giving up. Eggs, effort, impossible. It's impossible to know why anyone does anything, even if you ask them and they give you an answer. It's impossible to know. God will punish those who think that they can tell what anyone's effort is. Effort, intention. It's impossible to tell. Like, I'm sitting here and there's a helicopter going by and there's a bug on my window and there's traffic and there are people walking around and there are boats driving by. And there are people in the other buildings moving around. And my observation and my acknowledgement of these things, people, places, to you, staring at me, you write in the comments that I'm the one who's crazy. Because I have my live feed on YouTube streaming while I look out the window. But you're here in my comments talking shit to me, so maybe you're the one who's crazy, right? Perspective. I think that for every effort that's made. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. I just saw a super low flying object. I don't know what it was, but it was really low. I think it's really important to note that anytime I come online, if there are 1,000 people who see the live, and from that 1,000, like 3 of them do something, anything positive to help my situation, that it was a worthwhile live. And until you're sitting in anyone's situation, circumstances, or, body, there's no way that you could tell what you would or should or could do in those same circumstances. I don't know how there are so many helicopters just free flying around here. Like, where are we? Apparently just anyone can fly here. I was told in the past that this was restricted airspace only for hospital helicopters and traffic helicopters with certain clearances, but the amount of helicopters that have been driving around just since I've started this live is unbelievable, truly. And it looks as though they're just doing circles around. What do you want me to be accountable for? I went to college. I've worked up to 4 jobs at a time. What do you want me to be accountable for? Do you want me to take responsibility for being attacked, raped, bludgeoned, having my vehicle stolen, being stalked? Do you want me to take accountability for that? Because that's what is causing my circumstances today. I don't do drugs. I don't party. I don't do anything irresponsible. I have intelligence and work history and work experience more than most people my age. So yeah, as I said, probably like 1,000, 100,000 times, I can take accountability for falling in love with someone who was not good for me. And I can take accountability for giving too much access of myself to that person or those people. But apart from that, I'm not going to victim shame myself anymore. I spent a lot of time victim shaming myself, feeling dirty and disgusting and hating myself for a lot of the things that happened. And that's not productive. That's just as unproductive as being completely unaccountable. Victim shaming and accountability, neither of them are accountable when you take them to extremes. So when you involve yourself in someone's situation, you have to be really careful. I try to always be very, very careful about any sort of advice that I give. I really don't like giving people advice on their significant life events. I like to just speak about my own, not because I'm speaking from a place of selfishness, but because I don't know how to answer anyone else's struggles. I don't know. And so many people are here judging, saying, well, all you have to do is blah, 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 blah. God bless your privilege. Because if that's truly how easy you think it is, you are privileged. There's another 4 helicopters. What the hell? There's one right there, and I hear one in the southwest of where I am right now, heading in this direction. I wish I could go to Topgolf. I love Topgolf. Truthfully, I wish I could just be in the house with my baby all day long. There's another helicopter. This is craziness. There are not this many medical emergencies. It's 7:46. Is something going on? Is something on fire or something? There was that fire in Westtown. Maybe they're getting follow-up footage for that. Who knows? Yeah, working as an escort came as a result of being in love with a man who told me that he was a cuckold and that if I loved him, that I would do certain things. And I ended the relationship and hung up the phone, and he called back. And I said no, and he said yes. And I said no, and he said yes. And I said no, and he said yes. And he wore me down until I could no longer fend for myself. Until I thought that it was a good idea because he thought that it was a good idea. Until I thought that to be a good wife, I needed to engage in what my husband was attracted to. So as I said, I'm not wrong for doing what I did. I'm wrong for being in a relationship where my core values of doing what my husband thinks is right and being submissive to my husband were challenged and proven wrong in those circumstances. But there's a whole Bible that will tell you that you're supposed to do that. So, like I said, you guys, it's been an incredible journey of self-blame, accountability to the extreme in both directions. I have really dissected the entire situation. I didn't get into those situations on my own. I got into those situations because I fell in love with someone who found me in a very vulnerable place and really, really, really just used his own life circumstances and experience to guide me in a way that was not good for me. And I was not intelligent enough, not strong enough to stand up to him. I thought that I was doing the right things. I truly did. I truly did. I mean, I really, really did. I thought that I was doing all the things that I was supposed to do to create this lavish life for my children and I, and him, and by lavish, I mean, being able to pay the rent and still have money left over. So. I'm not going to keep talking about the things in order. If that's the only thing that saves me, then, I mean, how could that be the only thing that saves me? It feels like they're curating a repetitious cycle. First, they hack into my accounts, which they've already done. Then they hack into my finances. Then they submit some sort of fraudulent medical evidence that isn't real. Then they attack my social medias. Then they mark all of my accounts as scams. My Cash App gets closed. I've never scammed on any of them. There's not even a scam you could do on Cash App. Then after that, they do I don't even know what comes after that. I'll remember when they start doing it. Crazy making activity and behavior, badgering and baiting, the honeypot technique, any number of abuses. They promised that they weren't going to do it anymore. So